Question 3. Why there are number of pitfalls in yoga sadhana or spiritual practices for the beginners, particularly when the life force or Udana Praana tries to ascend from the lower chakras, namely Muladhara and Swadhishthanam? Answer. Before a sadhaka takes up the practices of yoga, all the chakras in his system are closed or sealed. Every chakra has its original characteristics. When the chakras are blossomed by the passage of Kundalini power or Udana Praana, specific dormant tendencies of a sadhaka awake in the process. For the beginners, as the Udana Praana is generated in the navel region, it goes to the Manipura Chakra that has its seat in the navel center in the spinal cord. It is the fire or Agni region. Udana Praana, under the influence of fire of the Manipura Chakra and under the effect of Swadhishthanam Chakra, gets vaporized and its vapors spread all around and pierce through Muladhara Chakra and its surrounding regions. The Kundalini power in the subtle stage of Samadhi resting in the coccyx at Muladhara region as the 3.5-inch coil awakens by the immense pressure of Udana Praana and its heat energy. It then tries to pierce through Muladhara Chakra and gradually ascends through Swadhisthana Chakra. The entire earthbound concealed tendencies become active in the mind of a beginner sadhaka. Earthbound tendencies like sex or procreation, attraction for varieties of tasty food, greed, anger, pride and attachments, etc., manifest to the highest level depending on the potentiality of the tendencies. Sometimes sadhaka is not able to control the manifested urge that forces him to indulge in these activities through the lowest possible extent or level. He becomes deha abhimani or proud of physical body and profoundly gets attached with instinctual desires to fulfill them. But, gradually, if he continues his sadhana or spiritual practices, these tendencies die down and get nullified as the Udana Praana gets purified under the fire of Manipura and Swadhisthana chakras, and on passing through these chakras. But this stage of initial evolution is very dangerous and one can become prey of negative tendencies for a long time till their effect is subsided with time. As the time passes and if the sadhaka continues his sadhana with sincerity, he may become the master of 8 siddhis of yoga that make him Mahatma, the great soul with time for the external world. Inside his Jivatma gets purified and he passes comfortably from the 4 stages of evolution, that is, he may transcend easily wakeful stage, dream, sushupti and turiya or transcendental state, and finally he may step into savikalpa to nirvikalpa samadhi. He becomes one with the divine light in the turiya state before mergence with the supernal. In the process of evolution, he becomes sthita prajna. He gets involved more in divine activities that projects his inherent talents, but his talents don't show his egoism of any kind. On the contrary, in the initial stages of evolution, when energies are mostly concentrated in Muladhara and Swadhishthanam, he has mixed instinct and free nature. His consciousness is also mixed. Depending on the mental tendency and mixed consciousness, the decisions he takes of life, may prove to be self-contradictory with time. He is more under the effect of Maya, the illusion. His nature will be very transient. It may be tamasic, rajasic or sattvic. Everything is unpredictable for him in the initial stages. His actions may not show consistency since all his actions are governed by the invoked tendencies in the lower chakras. He may himself be surprised for his own behavior, sometimes being sattvic and sometimes highly tamasic. This is because of the transient stage of evolution. Sometimes such a beginner aspirant talks of himself and may talk futile. His actions cannot be predicated unless his Udana Praana stabilize in the Manipura and Muladhara chakras. In the beginning he is Sakama Sadhaka and follows subtle ego path. He can curse to the fellow beings with prejudices and raga to fulfill his own worldly desires. But, gradually as he ascends in the path of spirituality, he becomes desireless. He becomes Nishkama Sadhaka. He enjoys to be with himself and to be near to his soul as much as possible. Then his destination is neither cause and nor effect. He gets fused in himself as if milk is mixed with milk, which then cannot be separated. Thus, he supersedes his bad desires, and even he does not show or project any caliber, which he possesses. As he climbs up in the path of vertical journey, he needs to control his mind by dhyana. He is neither to negate his own mind and nor to provoke it. By this his mind becomes strong. He needs to train his mind with positive thoughts and philosophy of the art of correct living and dealings. He must train his mind to explain why desires of any kind. Death waits at the doorstep that gives him perfect peace, awareness to detachment, contemplate on the satisfaction what Almighty has granted or given. That way, if mind is trained, it becomes one-pointed, and this is all needed for prelude to dhyana for the forward vertical journey, so that ego, subconscious, and desires do not become obstacles in the path of spiritual evolution. Thus, a sadhaka in the path of evolution at the Swadhisthana and Muladhara can train his mind initially so that ego gets dissolved and attitudes towards desires become nullified and their futility is understood. So that onward journey becomes natural throughout till the emergence takes place. In short, miseries during initial evolution are natural under the effect of Maya and latent tendencies. Jnana or knowledge is required to develop the conscious attitude so that the problems are tolerated as the natural phenomenon. Grace of Almighty does help to the real sadhakas in this path. Prayers are the divine boon to the sadhakas to come out from such obstacles, which is the best possible way to take up this onward journey for mergence with the supernal.